The SPD in the German Bundestag sharply rejected the idea of CDU leader Friedrich Merz to only prepare compulsory vaccination for future waves. Merz maneuvers on the subject of vaccination. His proposals have no substance, said SPD parliamentary group leader Dirk Wiese to the German newspaper Rheinische Post on Tuesday. Merz does not want to support any of the proposals for compulsory vaccination that have been put forward by Parliament. Instead, he advocated a preventive vaccination law. Wiese, who's in charge of preparing a general vaccination requirement in the SPD in the spirit of Chancellor Olaf Scholz and is co-author of a corresponding application, said, "Wanting to create a vaccination requirement in reserve, which will only be activated when the next wave of infection rolls in, is a catastrophe with an announcement." And he says Merz also contradicts the specifications of its own prime ministers. Wiese says, "If we wait to vaccinate until the wave rolls, it's far too late. Then we'll have freedom restrictions again in the fall, which nobody wants anymore," said Wiese. And therefore, the SPD, the Social Democrats, is striving for a timely vaccination requirement from the age of 18 as a responsible preparation for the fall. Addressing Merz, the SPD politician added, "Hesitant approaches to somehow please everyone are of little help here. Legally stand on feet of clay and are not thought through to the end." Well, not thought through to the end, that's something I connect with the Traffic Light Coalition, because they want to have a general corona vaccination decision made in the form of competing group applications in the Bundestag. There should not be a government draft. So far, MPs have been considering 3 models. Compulsory vaccination for everyone over the age of 18, a requirement only for people over the age of 50, and the rejection of compulsory vaccination. The 7-day incidence of new corona infections in Germany has reached another high. According to the Robert Koch Institute, it was 1,426 nationwide on Monday morning. On Sunday, it was 1,400.8. On Monday last week, it was 1,176.8. The incidence quantifies the number of new infections per 100,000 inhabitants over a period of 7 days. As the RKI announced, citing data from the health authorities, the number of new infections within 24 hours on Monday morning was 95,267, after 133,000 on Sunday and 78,000 on Monday last week. As the RKI further announced, 49 other deaths related to the coronavirus were also recorded on Monday. And according to the RKI, the health authorities have recorded a total of 11,117,857 cases of infection since the beginning of the pandemic. The total number of registered corona deaths in Germany is now 118,766. The RKI puts the number of people who have recovered from corona at around 8 million. In November, the federal and state governments had defined the so-called hospitalization incidence as the decisive benchmark for tightening or relaxing the corona measures. This value indicates how many people per 100,000 inhabitants are hospitalized within 7 days because of a corona infection. According to the latest RKI report, the hospitalization incidence nationwide on Friday was 5.45. For the time being, Bavaria does not want to implement the facility-related compulsory vaccination for nursing staff that is planned from mid-March. He was in favor of proceeding most generously here, which de facto amounts to suspending enforcement, said CSU boss and Prime Minister Markus Söder on Monday after a meeting of the CSU Board of Directors in Munich. For how many months this will apply is still open. Söder justified the separate Bavarian procedure, which is still to be worked out in detail, with difficulties in the care facilities in providing staff. The head of government said he was generally in favor of compulsory vaccination. However, the singular and also partial solution is currently of no help in the Omicron wave. The law on facility-related vaccination requirements stipulates that from March 15th, employees of facilities such as clinics, medical practices and old people's and nursing homes must provide proof of full vaccination against the coronavirus. A few days ago, the German Nursing Council warned of personnel problems. According to the Federal Employment Agency, around 12,000 nurses, that's more than usual, registered as job seekers in January alone. And in Söder's view, the stable situation in Bavaria's intensive care units, despite the further increase in corona numbers, should also lead to a significant relaxation of the control measures. As the German press agency learned from participants, he made appropriate suggestions on Monday when the CSU Board of Directors broadcasted via video conference. Decisions on this could be made in the cabinet as early as today when I'm filming this, so yesterday when you see this. We only have a third of the occupancy of the intensive care beds, as we're comparable to the fourth wave of Delta, said Söder on Monday in the public television. And that's the important thing, he stressed. Restrictions are correct when the health system is under extreme strain, but this is currently not the case with Omicron. And according to Söder's proposals, the current 10 p.m. curfew for restaurants should be lifted. In restaurants where food is offered, guests can sit longer again. At sporting events, a spectator capacity of up to 50% should be allowed again. In stadiums and at major sporting events, the limit is currently 25%. In addition, according to Söder, a maximum upper limit of 15,000 spectators should then apply. Currently, it's 10,000. For cultural events, an occupancy rate of up to 75% should again be possible. Currently, it is a maximum of 50%. In both areas, however, the 2G plus rule and FFP2 mask requirement should remain. Body-related services such as hairdressers or nail salons should also be possible in Bavaria for visitors with a negative corona test. The 3G rule should apply there again. This means that people who have not been vaccinated or have no proof of recovery can use the services again. The 2G rule still applies there right now. Söder had already campaigned for easing at the weekend. The consistent use of FFP2 masks allows contact restrictions to be lifted, he wrote on Facebook on Sunday. The federal government must present a phased plan for this, he wrote. The prerequisite is that the clinics are not overloaded. In the week after the killing of 2 police officers in the Palatinate, the hate speech investigation group identified 399 cases of hate and hate speech online in connection with the crime. According to the provisional status, 102 of these are criminally relevant, said Rhineland-Palatinate Interior Minister Roger Levens from the Social Democrats on Monday in Mainz. 15 suspected responsible persons have already been identified with real names. The hate speech investigation group included 14 experts. Levens called the shooting of the 2 young police officers a cowardly murder in the most brutal way. Already on Friday night, the police in the Herrstein-Raunen district arrested a man who is said to have spread hate comments against police officers on the internet and called for violence. The 55-year-old is said to have uploaded 2 videos to his public Facebook profile in which, among other things, he gave instructions on how to lure police officers onto a dirt road and ambush them. The president of the Rhineland-Palatinate State Criminal Police Office, Johannes Kunz, said that there were indications that speak for an allocation to the spectrum of the so-called Reich citizens. They are really a bunch of idiots. That's what I'm saying. A 24-year-old police officer and a 29-year-old chief inspector were shot and killed during a traffic check near Kusel on Monday a week ago. The 2 suspects, a 32-year-old and a 38-year-old from Saarland, are in custody on charges of joint murder and commercial poaching. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.